As of March 2022, DoorDash holds a 59% market share of delivery companies in the United States. The second largest company is Uber Eats, who only holds a 24% market share. It is clear that DoorDash is the largest food delivery company. However, recently it seems as though the orders have been slowing down a lot and the quality of the orders are dropping too. Looking at the income statements for DoorDash, there is a lot to dissect. Those of you that like numbers will probably ignore me and just look at the charts, and those of you that don't like numbers will completely ignore the charts and listen to me. So let me quickly break it down for you. If we look strictly at revenue, we can clearly see that DoorDash is growing. The data here shows back to September 30th of 2020. In the months of September, October, and November, DoorDash had $879 million in revenue. In the 3 following months of December 2020, January 2021, and February 2021, DoorDash brought in $970 million in revenue. Looking at these numbers, it appears DoorDash has been growing every quarter. However, we need to take a step back. Looking at the statements of operations, we can see just how much DoorDash spends as a company on things like advertising, research and development, and any other expenses they incurred in the measured time. It may appear that in the first 6 months of 2022, DoorDash made well over $3 billion in revenue. However, to make this $3 billion, they spent $835 million on advertising, $353 million on research and development, $539 million on general and administrative costs, and $140 million on depreciation and amortization expenses. The biggest expense they had was the $1.6 billion they spent on what they classify as cost of revenue. Cost of revenue is the total of all costs incurred directly in producing and distributing products and services of a company to customers. So this section includes all of the money that they had to spend to get this food delivered to the customers that brought in the $3 billion of revenue. These costs of revenue include things like base pay. I think it was Pedro who recently asked his community what they would do if they were the DoorDash CEO and were trying to make the company profitable. I think it's very clear what DoorDash's largest expense is. Only they know exactly what they are classifying as their cost of revenue, but my guess would be that a large chunk of that is base pay and customer refunds. If I were the DoorDash CEO and I really wanted to make the company profitable, the base pay would absolutely have to go down. That being said, I think that DoorDash should implement a minimum tip. DoorDash knows that the no-tip offers struggle to get delivered. When a customer doesn't tip, DoorDash either has to increase the base pay, which increases their expense on that order, or they have to stack it with a good-paying customer's offer. No-tipping customers have to wait much longer on their food, causing them to be unhappy with the service. Instead of allowing the whole debate about whether or not you should have to tip before the delivery, DoorDash should have shut it down a long time ago and required you to tip to get access to this service. If we were employees being paid by DoorDash, it would be a completely different story. However, we are not. We have to use our own personal vehicles and our own personal gas to drive out to bring you your food. Regardless of the interaction you have, when you order delivery, you are paying for a luxury service. If you cannot afford to tip your driver a few dollars, you should not be ordering delivery through a business like DoorDash. So after breaking down all the numbers, it still leaves us with the unanswered question of, is DoorDash dying? Unfortunately, there's no real solid answer. When looking at the numbers, it appears as if the company is growing and it is not slowing down. However, how long can they maintain this growth? And not only that, but how long can they continue to operate at a loss before another company takes over or DoorDash is forced out of business? Well, thankfully for DoorDash, all of these main food delivery businesses are still operating at a loss as well. The battle for market share in the food delivery space is basically a battle of who can operate at a loss for the longest. These food delivery services are slowly going out of business one by one. There are all kinds of different food delivery services that have come and gone that you probably haven't even heard of. The most recent, and what I feel like is most well known, was Postmates. At the end of 2022, Uber bought out Postmates. Postmates was actually the delivery app I started on. I'm not sure how many of you guys worked for them, but it was definitely not the move. So while DoorDash certainly may feel slower in some markets right now, I'm not sure if we can say that DoorDash is dying yet. It will be very interesting to see what happens when DoorDash finally has a quarter of negative growth. DoorDash needs to keep bringing in as many customers as possible in order to keep bringing in more revenue. However, there is a limit to the amount of people that can afford to be regular DoorDash customers. I think that DoorDash will be around for a while. They certainly still have changes to make to become a profitable business, but it's going to take a lot to knock out the biggest food delivery service that's around right now. If you made it this far in the video, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you that goes out of the way to show me support on these videos. Go out and work hard this week. Let's get some money.